Big challenge to your growth will be implementing systems in your construction business. See it very often. I will give someone a system of how to do something, systematize their business, and then implementation will drag on and struggle and is where a lot of the challenge really comes in. It's easy enough to get, documents, SOPs, some training videos, get some new software for your company, but actually implementing it and getting your team on board and making sure that it's being used in the right way to actually decrease the amount of time that you're spending as well as boost profitability in a business is where the real challenge takes place. So that's why I created this video to help you get past that implementation hurdles, challenges, roadblocks, pitfalls that are all too common with many people trying to systematize their construction business. So before we get started, give this video a big thumbs, likes up. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you want to grow your construction business. All right, so moving on to the first point here, we've got mindset. So we're starting a mindset. We are going to be going through kind of a whole process of like the different ways and things you need to be implementing from like the start to the end. Expect friction. The mindset you need to be thinking is this is going to be a battle. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be friction. Guys are not going to want to do this. People are not going to know what you're talking about. There's going to be communication roadblocks. I've worked with enough clients trying to implement systems to know that you just have to embrace the process, embrace the challenges, and realize that just because something is not working doesn't mean that it won't be beneficial and it won't work in the future. You've got to really push through some of those challenges and frustrations and pushbacks. So just get that mindset from the start is this is going to take effort on your part. This is going to take commitment on your part. You're going to have to learn new skills of leadership, of communication, of using technology, of getting stuff down on paper and building SOPs and trainings and utilizing software. You can get help for a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to be sharing with you how to do that throughout this video, but just get into this place of this is new to you. It's not something you are probably trained at or have done before. So there's going to be those difficulties and we're going to get you through that. So second part is process first. So when you're implementing, start with the process first. You want to figure out what's the main problem, what are the steps, and then you want to create a standard operating procedure. And the reason you want to get the procedure and the process in first is because that's where everything grows in STEM. Those 5 main points of how to do something is all you really need to get started. I see it way too often when contractors will purchase software, or maybe they'll just download some templates from online, or they'll have like some of this or some of that. There's no consistency. And then they wonder why, their team's not following it. They don't know how to like communicate it, how to make it actually work for them. They're still just as busy, and the systems processors are pretty much just sitting on a shelf collecting dusts and cobwebs because nobody's actually using them and no one cared to look at them, after they were written. So figure out the main problem. A good place to start is like, what do you really not want to do anymore? Or where is a big opportunity that is taking up a lot of your time and you should not be doing anymore? So start with the process, and that will help you implement much faster than trying to like build out some big system. Just figure out the process, build a standard operating procedure. That is the fastest way that I've found to systematize a business, is build out a very basic standard operating procedures, and then from there create a training video. So third point that I'm going to be moving on here is software. So as you know, software is going to be like a double-edged sword. It can be absolutely wonderful, and in the long run, it will help you systematize your business. It'll take care of a lot of automations. It'll make your whole team run more effectively, make you more profitable. Software is worth the investment. Get some proper software. I've got other videos on, software stacks and which software to get and how to use different software. So go check out those videos after this one. But for now, tech support, you want to rely on the tech support for helping you as far as like the basic how to use the software. So you paid for the software. Every software is generally going to come with some sort of tech support. So if you're trying to figure something out, watch their training videos, rely on them, ask them questions. If something's not making sense or there's bugs, help them make their system better. Send them, feedback reports or whatever, and really get the most out of your software. Implementation of software, you need to communicate with your team very effectively that this is the new direction you want to go, and tell them why it is important for them to start using the software and the benefits that's going to get. So I'm going to be getting into this a little bit later in the video of exactly how to communicate that with your team, but it's very, very important. And like I said, I've got playlists on software and how to implement that, so I'm not going to go on that too much, but that'll be kind of a big roadblock, is getting the right software, picking the right one, and then figuring out how it's going to work in your business. And because like in the previous step, I said we need that process. Once you have that process, now you can can use that to make the software effective, because a tech support is not going to know how to do an estimate necessarily like the way that you want to do it. They're not going to know about your business processes of how you onboard employees, how you manage employee time tracking, how you manage your projects. So they are not going to understand those things. That's generally where you as the business owner will be the expert in how your business runs. So you build that process and then you use the software based off that process. And this is like how I kind of facilitate and where I can really come in and help implement for clients, is figuring out that process and sharing with them, like, this is the way that you want to do it, and this is how we use the software with that process to make it effective and grow and make a profitable business. So is this making sense? Any questions or anything that's not clear, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I do respond to comments. I'll be happy to answer your questions and have some back and forth if you want to know anything more or have any ideas that I haven't shared here. So moving on to number 4, training. Like I said before, communication and training. This is going to be the big thing for you. And this is where the rubber meets the road. You've kind of, the implementation, there are roadblocks in kind of setting up the systems with the software and the SOPs, but the training of when you need to use those tools that you've created and then get your team to use them, this is where the real breakdown often happens. And you, as the owner, as the leader of your business, are going to be the one that's probably causing the problems. So you may not want to hear that, but essentially, if you are not fully bought into the system, if you are not sure how it's going to get implemented, you don't have to have all the answers, but if you're not 100% sold that this is what you want to do, that this is the direction you want to take, that this is what your employees and your team needs to implement, they are not going to, they're going to take it with a grain of salt. They're going to, do it 1 week and then start to forget about it. So you need to be sold. You need to really communicate to them. It's really important. These are the reasons why. Like I said before, you're going to have your SOP document. You're going to have your training video. So that's going to be the basis to set them up and really help them. And then you really need to explain why. So I want you to track your time per job so that I can estimate more effectively, so we can be more profitable as a company, and so that I can provide a better sustainable future for you, for everybody, and hopefully, give perks and provide better wages and more opportunities to grow for you. So that is the reason why I want you to track your time. It's very important. Plus, when you don't track the time properly, then our payroll accountant has to call you, and it costs more money and more time, and it makes them feel that our company is not managed well. So please, I need you to track your time and put in the right time entry for the right project, for the right task. So something to that degree, and just really communicate to them the importance of why you want them to do this and the benefits it will have for them. If it's just like, it'll help us be more profitable, it'll make my life easier, I won't have to do as much as a business owner, they may care about that, but in reality, they care about themselves and what it's going to do for them. So make sure that you are telling them why it's good for them. And guys who are already employed with you are going to be harder to get on new systems because they're used to the old way than new hires. So that's just kind of just the way nature is of, new guys. It's once you get a system in place, if you're getting a lot of pushback or difficulty with your current team, you just need to continue to like keep working it, keep checking on it, keep letting them know that this is what needs to be done. As you bring in new people and you grow, it'll just become the way you do things, and it will become easier in time. So like I said, what's in it for them? Tell them that, and it'll help you implementing a lot more. Still with me here? Number 5, monitoring. With any proper system, when you implement something, it needs to get monitored. You cannot just expect to build this huge, great system and then hand it off, and then all of a sudden it just works perfectly. I ran into this. I had, probably 12, maybe 14 years ago, I had my general contracting business, and I had a group of guys on a house. We're doing a full home remodel, and I built this beautiful system because I started to wanted to be able to track my expenses and do job costing. All right, so back here. I wanted to do job costing properly. So I made this this sheet that I gave to them so that they can fill out and track their projects and everything. And this is, I believe I had project management software at the time, but I wanted to keep it really simple for them on site so that they could manage this. And so I gave it to them. I thought I built this beautiful spreadsheet and system and explained it to them, and everybody is on board and everything's groovy, and this is awesome. Now I'm going to be able to see my actuals of where they're spending hours, where I'm spending money, and be able to really improve my business. Came back a week later, checked out the sheet, maybe 30-40% of it was filled out. There's coffee stains on it. It was crumpled up, full of sawdust. Obviously, no one had really cared to fill it out properly. And that was completely my fault because I'd created a system, but I hadn't created any system for monitoring it, for checking it, for telling them, hey, I want to report every day or every week. I want you to send me a picture of this. I want to make sure that, you're getting notifications to be checking this or to be putting in your hours. So you need a monitoring system to see, is the system being used? Is it effective? Can we change it? Can we modify it? Can we upgrade it? So that is a huge component of getting systems in your business, is having that monitoring aspect built into the system, so that again, it's not a set and forget, because there's always going to be things that don't get done or it's going to fall off the wayside. And if your employees or your subcontractors do not understand or are not getting any kind of feedback from not using the system, they're going to continue to not use the system because it's easier for them. So they need feedback, they need a little bit of nagging, they need, a little bit of encouragement to be using the system and to be using it regularly. And this can take weeks. Some guys will get it right away, months, even possibly years for some sub trades to get on a system. And you just really need to stick with it and continue to communicate with them. So is that making sense for you? Hope that is a big plus for you, is have a monitoring system. All right, moving on. Number 6. So we've got number 6 here, next level. So we've gone through kind of that whole process of implementing systems from A to Z. How do we build it? How do we get better? How do we get it to that next level? Push you past the competition, really get your systems to the next state of like what I see really successful ultimate businesses doing, where I like to get my businesses going, is create a system for systems, and that is create an implementation process and framework. So just as I've gone through this process, use that as a template. Figure out what is your process for implementing a new system. Create an SOP or a document for implementing new systems. So you're going to have an idea. You're going to have to figure out what the main problem is. You're going to have to explore solutions before you get into, like, often as contractors, as you know, this is something that I work on regularly. I jump to conclusions. I jump to solutions. When someone comes at me with a problem, I'm like, this is the solution. I want to solve, and I want to get on to the next thing, and I want to move fast. But sometimes it's really important, especially with like large systems or really important processes, really sit down and, like, firefighting and stuff like that. Why are people coming to me with these problems? What is the root cause? Am I actually solving the right problem with the standard operating procedure, with the software? Get some context of the problem before you move automatically to a solution, because sometimes we jump to a solution and we're solving the wrong problem. Does that make sense? So spend some time, figure out the problem, then figure out multiple solutions. Could we get software? Could we do a standard operating procedure? Brainstorm a little bit, build out a process like this for creating new systems in your business, and it'll just streamline your whole implementation of processes and systems so much faster. And it is like a beautiful thing. I've gotten in this habit, and now I can produce standard operating procedures, training videos, processes for, solutions. People come with problems, and it's just like I just go through the process. So have that like meta process for implementation, and you will be going to the moon with your systems, having a high functioning, highly profitable, highly successful construction business.